All right, here's a very special drone video. This is a 10-acre property, fully surveyed on the Niangua River, so not near the river or in the area of the river. This has 400 feet of direct frontage on the Niangua River near Bennett Springs State Park in the Missouri Ozarks. We're parked on the property. There's the red truck parked on the property right there. There's a big open meadow adjacent to the river. This is actually in the white ribbon trout fishing section of the Niangua. So there's a 12-mile stretch where you can fish for trout. And this is there. I mean, this is in it. So this is a really special property. This happens to have, because it has so much frontage, it happens to have two different, well, I guess you call it two different sections of water. But if you look down the river, you can see those little riffles. That's a miniature section of rapids, which is at the northeast side of the property. If you look from the middle down toward the bottom of the screen, see how level and smooth that is. That's a completely smooth section of river. So you've actually got both on this one property. That's how much frontage there is. So this video, usually we try to take the videos on at least a decent day, maybe with a little bit of blue sky. This was overcast. It was actually raining all day. There was a 10-minute break in the rain, and the guys took this video. But they really wanted to get the video of the property because, I mean, it's so nice. We wanted to get it out there. It's just a unique track. There's the rapids toward the bottom. Now, they're not, Colorado whitewater rapids, but there is a tiny bit of whitewater there, which just makes it cool. I'd have no problem having my young daughter go through there on her little kayak. That'd be just fine, but it's just neat that they're there. So the mowed area that you see, the guys have just mowed the property. So that's one of the reasons they wanted to get this video taken, because it really defines the property lines. Makes it easy to tell from the air just where it is. And I believe we're gonna back up, look across at that bluff on the other side of the river. You can see that really cool house. Okay, so now we're backing up. We're going, I guess, southeasterly back toward the county road. This is a really special tract that actually has direct county road frontage, but there's some easement roads within this little mini development as well, so you can actually get to different parts of the property without ever having to do an approach off the county road. So we're still looking. I mean, we're right over the middle of the property as we fly backwards. There's a road right there that kind of takes you in toward the kind of the south part of the property. There's Marigold Drive. That's the county road that does directly border the property for just a little bit. There's no approach currently, so you come in right there. That's the main gate to Riverside at the Niangua. You go through that gate, take a right, and you can go to the south side. If you take a left, you go down the hill, down to that meadow, and then back over to the right, and that's how we got to the north side of the property. So you've got some good ways to access several different parts of the property. You're certainly welcome to put in your own approach off of Marigold. It wouldn't take too much, but you don't have to. You can use the existing roads just as easily or more easily. So now we're going to fly northwesterly back to where we started, I'm sure. You'll see all different types of trees out here. There was a really cool mist in the air when they were doing this video. So the property is the highest by Marigold at the southeast side. It's fairly narrow. I don't have the survey map right in front of us here, but it's fairly narrow at Marigold, and it gets wider as you go toward the river. It gets wider and wider, and it's at its widest point at the river itself. There's a big grove of a lot of different hardwood trees on the property, probably a lot of hickories and oaks. Your best building sites, depending on what you wanted to do. A good building site, if you wanted a huge yard, would be right about where we are right now. And then it drops down steeply to that bottom field and then the river. So, of course, you would not want to do your home site in the bottom field. But interestingly enough, this is, I believe, the only tract out there. It has a little trail just about the center of the screen right there going south off of the field to an area that rises up, and there's a small site there as well. So you'd have room to probably do a little cabin and be out of that. I mean, obviously, you don't want to build in a bottom field at a river. For obvious reasons, I'm sure it's going to, when the river is up over its banks, it'll be in that field. So don't build there. But having that little building site just south of the field is cool. Obviously, if you go up the hill, then you'd have a massive site. So now we're looking southerly on the Niangua. Off in the distance is the Barclay Conservation Area. So that's just up the river a little bit. There's a spring that feeds into the river at that point, and that's one of the reasons the trout fishing is so good right here. So they raise the trout at Bennett Springs State Park. They have a hatchery there, and they release the rainbow trout and the brown trout into the river, and there's a 12-mile stretch where the trout stay, and this is within that stretch, so it's really unique. Beautiful river, clear river, very popular for fishing and swimming and canoeing and floating and kayaking and all that good stuff. There's a lot of small resorts right in this area because it's so popular. But with 400 feet of frontage, you've got as much frontage as most small resorts would have, actually. I can see some big sycamore trees there between the river and the meadow. Check out the ground videos as well, of course, and check out the interactive map, but there's just nothing else like this. Didn't even mention the wildlife. Practically every time we're out here we see deer, especially if it's the morning. If it's fairly early in the morning, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, we see deer every time. If it's a little later in the day, then we often see them, and we hear turkey quite a bit as well. We're trying to focus in on that sign. This happens to be track 2. There's a really cool natural spot where you can you could actually drive basically right to the river if you wanted to, if it was dry and you weren't worried about sinking. And you can put a canoe in right there. I mean, there's so much to see. We can't pack it all into a 5-minute drone video here, but check out the listing page. Extremely unusual property to have all that frontage. InstantAcres.com is the website. I don't think I mentioned that yet. But yeah, InstantAcres.com. We'll have the direct link for this particular property down in the what am I trying to say? If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be down in the description page. I guess if you're not watching it on YouTube, then you're already at the listing page, so there, you're good to go. But yeah, InstantAcres.com. Check the description on the YouTube listing for the direct link. If you have any questions, let us know. Awesome property.